Picture this, two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Opposites. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
And this week we're going to be talking about the movies we chose last week for each other. I chose Selena for Josh.
And I chose Pulp Fiction for Aaron.
So I guess we'll start with Selena. You
Sure.
want to tell us what, or...
Yeah, let me hear what you thought of it. Like, why? I know it's like one of your favorite movies. You're a huge Selena fan.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the movie and how it represents her and her story? And what do you think about?
I think it does a great job of it. I know the family had a little bit of input here and there with it.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big Selena fan. That's why it's one of my favorite movies. But I also think it just is a good movie. It has a good story. It has the love interest part that most people like. Not me. But it has everything that makes a good movie as well.
Yeah.
But I just think the casting was great in this movie. They really were able to bring to light what it was to be around her, and I think they portrayed her really well.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed the movie. I'd seen it a long time ago, but probably when it came out, but I haven't seen it since. As far as musical, like biopics, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it does it very well. Like she's going through her childhood and her upbringing, and then a lot of it's kind of a road movie mixed with, kind of a romance at the heart of the movie.
Right.
Which you hate, but you nevertheless keep picking movies with
Well, I mean, but
romances.
this one's different. It's okay. So this is different. This isn't a romance movie. It just happens that the woman they're talking about fell in love at some point in her life.
Well, it takes up like half the movie.
But because it was a big deal of her life. Because it was like...
But it's still a romance. Anyway.
She was not supposed to date band members and things like that.
And I think it's a really sweet romance. Like, I buy it. And both of them have great chemistry together. I thought he was great. And Jennifer Lopez is terrific. This is like kind of her first big breakout dramatic role.
Yeah. Now, she had been in other movies. Actually, there was one, I don't remember.
She was in Money Train the year before.
That might be the one that actually a lot of this cast is in. There was a movie prior to this that almost most of this cast was also in.
Oh, okay.
I had seen something about that, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But that was another thing. Like, she was a perfect pick in my eyes. There were a lot of people that were mad about it because she was a Latina woman from New York.
Okay.
Instead of, I guess they wanted somebody actually from Mexico to play it.
Oh.
At one point or something like that. But I think she ended up being the perfect selection.
I mean, honestly, like, it might have been, this is before she was like really like a huge superstar, but I think without her, the movie probably wouldn't have gotten made. Like, to a certain degree. I mean,
she did become the highest paid Latina woman at this movie as a lead.
Yeah.
It was like $1 million.
Yeah, it was a kind of a breakthrough movie.
Yeah.
Just like Selena was in the music industry.
Completely.
And she's terrific. And I'm assuming she does all the singing.
So she doesn't.
She does? That is some good lip syncing.
Yes. I also thought she did a lot of the singing because I have heard Jennifer Lopez sing it since then. That's why I think she was perfect. Also, they kind of did a really good job of making her look like her. And it was
all
just
the costumes and everything. Yeah.
But the singing... Jennifer Lopez thought she was going to do her own vocals, but they thought since it was being released so soon after the death that fans would be upset that somebody else was already singing her music.
That's understandable.
So the only part she does sing is that one concert scene where they end up crushing the stage.
Oh, okay.
And she comes back out and she does Como La Flor to calm him down.
That one I could definitely tell that was...
She doesn't sing the whole thing.
Really?
It's that opening. Where she does like the slow Como La Flor.
Okay. Because that probably wasn't a recorded thing from Selena.
That part was not.
That also, the movie, this thing came out like so soon after she was murdered.
Yeah.
Like just the next year, which is pretty, I'm guessing it was maybe already in the works.
I don't know.
The movie.
I don't know.
Because usually it takes time for like the script and, development and getting deals together. I think if I remember, she was murdered towards the end of 95.
I think so.
And the movie's out like about a year later or less.
Yeah, it's not long.
I would guess it was already in development at some point.
Yeah, I've never heard anything.
Because it does kind of feel like...
Well, no, because to prepare for the movie, Jennifer Lopez lived with Selena's family.
Okay.
So I wouldn't think it was already in... I don't know.
I just
Maybe
know
they
it
just
takes
did it-
time for like a script and everything to get
Right.
together. But, man...
They just did it fast.
That's really, it's impressive they did that so
Right.
soon, you know. But it does kind of, the other thing that makes me think that is like I forget her name, the fan club lady that was stealing money from her. That ended up
Yolanda.
Yolanda.
Well, that's the real lady's name, yeah.
Yeah, that it does kind of feel almost like the script was going a certain way, and then some of that kind of feels tacked on. Not like, but it kind of feels like kind of late in development, like because she had been murdered.
Right.
So that's what makes me think it was kind of like they were already kind of.
I've never thought about it.
But it works fine. It's just kind of it's sudden, just like the real tragedy really was.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it could have also just been on purpose because it's like a gut punch.
Yeah.
Just like it was. And they do a great job of doing that because she's doing that. Dreaming of You, I think, is the song that she's doing at the end. And then they cut to like news reports about it happening and the shooting happening. And then after that, you go into like them being at the hospital and fans lining up in the street, which actually did happen. So fans just flocked to the street. But yeah, that was Yolanda Saldivar, and she is still in jail. She has no possibility of parole until March of 2025 at the earliest. So
good.
Hopefully they don't let her out.
The movie's really great, and I like the cast is really terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I like Edward James Olmos as her father, who he's a terrific actor anyway. I don't know if you've ever seen Stand and Deliver.
Yes, I have.
It was like, I think that was required in high school. I don't know how many times I watched that in high school.
Yeah, I don't know if I watched it in high school or
Did you just say you've seen a movie?
You're right.
What? We mentioned a movie that you've seen?
It's a good movie.
It is, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it since high school, but I remember liking it.
I haven't seen it forever either.
But I really like him. He's always dependable and a very good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he, her dad was very strict and probably kind of worked him.
Yeah, a little hard.
Worked him hard.
Maybe harder than normal.
As maybe more than he should, especially when they're really young,
Definitely like what do you call those? Like stage moms?
Yeah.
Like a stage dad.
But I really love the scene, like where, she's wanting to get married and he loses it, just is totally against it and everything.
Yeah.
And then they kind of,
they run off.
Well, yeah, but I think it's like after she gets married, she just runs off and gets married anyway, right? Okay. That's what I remember. Okay. And then she has a scene with her dad again, and it was a very sweet, tender scene, and they both played it really well. And it's like, because that character could have easily come off as just a caricature, but Edward James Olmos and the writers really gave him some depth, and like he's not just a stage dad. He's also her dad, and he loves her, but he's just really protective. And
I think that's what I was saying about this movie. It just is a movie that it really just shows all sides of everybody.
Yeah.
Sure, they had rough times and also coming up money-wise.
Yeah.
And, the dad was very strict with them and things like that. But you did get to see the other side of him. Same with like the mom and the brothers and the sisters.
The whole family unit was really, really well cast, and they all...
Right.
They felt like a family. It felt real. It felt authentic. It wasn't disingenuous or anything.
Yeah, I think that's important, which we've talked about before, but a cast is so important.
Yeah.
And with this movie, it really shows, I think, because it does give you just that, she was loved by so many people, and I think they really captured her in a light that shows you why, and you really do see, it's almost like looking into the life of that person at that time.
Yeah, I mean, she was everywhere.
Yeah.
Like in that, 93, 94, 95.
Yeah, and she was
like Latina, like Madonna or Elvis, or like she was huge.
Right.
She was just, and she really crossed over.
And she was about to make like a huge crossover album. So
she was going to make an English language album, or she had made one. I forget.
I think she was going to make
I know they talked. I remember in the movie they're talking about making an English language album.
Yeah,
but I just
it's
can't
going to be
remember.
I think it was going to be a full English album.
Yeah.
And that's what was going to be the crossover.
And then she was murdered before that happened, or okay, that's
Yeah,
what-
that didn't
okay.
happen.
I'm glad I'm
She did have a
remembering
new
it right.
CD come out this month. Actually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they did a release of some unreleased music.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it just came out, I think, last week or the week before. Yeah, I don't know. I love this movie. It's just a good movie that, I don't know, it just has so much to it.
It does. It's a very well made movie. I don't know. There's some movies like that where it just kind of falls into place, and it doesn't. Not every movie has to be groundbreaking or
Right.
Innovative. It just has to be solid, well told, well acted, and genuine.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like there's a lot of genuine affection for Selena
Yes.
in the movie, like from everyone involved.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other cool thing is, like you said, it may not be something groundbreaking
Yeah.
or original in a way, but they put so much little things into it.
Yeah.
Like the people that tried to pull the bus out and their bumper comes off, and
yeah, that was funny.
I do anything for Selenas. Like that's great. Or when she starts wearing the bustier for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a big deal back then. Madonna was doing it,
Yeah.
and I think like maybe Cher had done it a couple times.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal for someone like her to start doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And her dad, of course, freaked
Was
out
not,
about that. It's a brawl.
Well, she also mentions like in the movie that like Paula Abdul was
Oh,
doing
yeah.
it
Abdul.
also.
That-
She
that
was
was the other person I
She
was
was a big
thinking
deal at that
wasn't
time too.
Jennifer Lopez a dancer for Paula Abdul or something?
I don't remember.
I know
There
there's
is a
some
link.
sort of a J-Lo
Yes.
Paula Abdul
There is a link there somewhere.
connection.
Well,
I
Paula
think.
Abdul did a lot of choreographing because she
Yeah.
choreographed for Janet.
Funny story. The movie The Running Man with Arnold. It's based on the Stephen King book. It's nothing like the book, but it's a fun movie. And
I've seen it. I don't remember it.
she did the choreography for all the like dancers in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can kind of tell because there's a lot of
Paula
there's-
moves.
There's a lot of Paula moves. There's a lot of like
Right.
violent
Flex.
hair flips and flexing and stuff. But
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, they did a good job, and there's plenty of funny moments. There's plenty of
Yeah.
serious moments. It was her life. So
I feel like it encapsulates her very well.
Yeah.
Like a good like a musical biopic movie is kind of like a good sports movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as it's well made, like it's a dependable genre that you don't really have to stray too far from like conventions
Right.
to make just a solid movie. And I feel like that it kind of applies to like this genre, like this or like Walk the Line or
Right.
Ray. They're just solid movies, and you kind of know what's going to happen at some point. Especially if it's somebody like Johnny Cash or Selena
Yeah.
or the new Elvis movie. Speaking of like musical biopics, like I know and it kind of hits all the big points. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Really, I haven't
The
seen
new
it.
Elvis one. He does a terrific. I mean, it's a lot like Selena. He does a terrific job. They really kind of hit most of the big points and kind of capture, I think, who he was to a certain degree.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's just like it's as long as you kind of
Do it well.
do it well, it'll work. And
Yeah.
it
It doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but
No.
But like this movie, like you were saying, it's almost like they come across as a family unit.
yeah,
You really feel for them and the characters, and you really get involved in the story. So it just has to be done really well.
yeah.
But I
And
think,
it's like it's an easy movie to watch.
oh yeah,
Like it just kind of it moves well, and it's just entertaining and it's heartwarming. Like their romance
Right.
is really heartwarming, and the relationship between her and her dad. And,
yeah. The scene when they get married and they're
Yeah.
married and they're driving down in the Porsche, you see like their love for each other, but then you see she's so scared of her dad because on the radio,
Yeah, on the
they're
radio,
already
they've already
announcing her
announced- yeah.
marriage, and she's like, I haven't even told my dad. Which another fun fact, that Porsche, I don't know if it was her Porsche used in the movie, but she did have one exactly like it at least.
yeah.
And it's in the Selena Museum down in Texas.
Oh,
It's
I didn't
one of
know
the
she had a
things-
museum.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Have you been?
No, I wish.
Come on, man.
I'm gonna
What are you-
have to
what are
go.
you waiting.
They have
I'm sure they have like a lot of her costumes.
a lot of her costumes, a lot of her bustiers. They have the Grammy
Oh, okay.
dress,
Okay.
which is like a big deal because she won a Grammy.
Yeah.
So the dress she wore to that, they have a lot of cool stuff, but I thought it was cool that they have the car.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Just because it ties back to the movie as well because it's an iconic scene for that movie.
I enjoyed the opening of this movie. I thought was really like a neat way to like
They open with the concert.
start their family. Well, yes, but then the cut back to like her dad's band way back in like the 50s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really cool. That
It-
was
well,
I thought
and
that
then
was a really
also-
cool like
So-
or 1961 like that.
Well,
like,
and
thing.
that also gave you story behind why he pushed so hard. Like he knew how hard it was to be,
Yeah.
because for him being like a Spanish singer and trying to go to all these American places and perform, it was a big, hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So I think it really gives you a backstory on why he was so hard too.
Yeah. And that opening concert, they come back to that at the end. Was that the last concert she gave?
In the purple.
Yeah, in the purple dress.
Yeah, I'm
Or
pretty sure the purple jumps.
jumper.
well,
yeah,
it's on the
jumpsuit.
day that she shot. Is
Yeah.
the date of the concert,
I'm
so.
pretty sure that was the last concert, which her sister didn't get to play drums at, which is kind of a
Oh.
sad note.
That's
but-
a bummer.
She had broke her foot or something. But yeah, I mean that's the other thing. The opening I think is really good. Even just the opening to her singing, because it really just shows you who you're learning about,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
then it cuts to the back story, starting with her dad when he was younger, and then them coming up and the struggles they went through, which was a lot, and them performing at little like hometown things, and Selena Los Dinos was their name before, and then they dropped the Los Dinos once they started getting big.
Yeah.
Same band, it was the family.
Yeah.
So-
It was just they recognized she was the front man.
right,
Front
and-
woman.
Yep, yeah, because she didn't even really speak Spanish much at one point, so she had to learn Spanish to sing.
Yeah, because they made a point of that because she had only sung American songs, and then she does. I remember that scene where she's telling her dad she doesn't know how to sing in Spanish.
Right. Which, I mean, obviously she ends up doing beautifully.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've always liked Spanish music since I was a kid. I don't know. There's something about the language in itself that I love.
Yeah.
But
It's very lyrical.
yeah. And then, of course, that's where my love of Selena comes from. But it's just a great movie overall.
It is.
It really portrays her, which I think she seems to have been an awesome person. I mean, she was very kind. I mean, that's what got her killed in the end. Yolanda like found her and was like, "Hey, I want to be president of your fan club."
Yeah.
So then she started working with her more, and then Selena opened a boutique, and Yolanda managed her boutique, and then it was found out that she was embezzling money from both the fan club and the boutique.
Yeah, because her dad's like, he's getting calls or something from fans that haven't got their whatever,
Stuff. Yeah, whatever they were getting.
merchandise or whatever.
And Yolanda wanted her to come there by herself, and other people told her not to, and she was like, "It's fine, it's Yolanda. I'm going to go handle this myself." And then that's when she was shot. Yolanda claims that it was an accident. I don't know. I was
They
watching
go
an
to a
interview this
hotel
morning.
room. It's like, oh, I accidentally shot someone in my hotel room.
Well, her side of the story is that she was going to shoot herself, and Selena was like, "No, you can't do that." And then she went to shut the door so they could like talk about it more. And Yolanda says she was waving the gun at the door, saying, "You can't do this. Just go." And the gun went off. So,
I guess I can kind of see that.
I mean, it could be possible, but I feel like that's not what happened whatsoever. She was caught. I don't know.
That's tragic either way.
Yeah, either way. I mean, because also if it was an accident and, Yolanda loved her as much as she says she did, then
Why does she have?
that's also sad. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
What?
She wouldn't have been embezzling money.
Well, also true. Yeah. You would think.
Yeah.
It's not like Selena probably would have gave her money for whatever she needed it for.
Yeah. She seemed very generous to all of her people that worked for her and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Tragic end.
Yeah. Just like her life. So you always talk about technical things and shots. I know this isn't like a huge technical movie, but were there any like certain scenes or shots that you thought were done really well?
Not like in particular. Nothing's like coming to mind. It's a very straightforward film from from the way it's shot and everything. They do use a lot of wides. They don't. I think that's what I noticed. They tend to do a lot of mid shots and wide shots. It's not a ton of close ups, which I kind of like because they're shooting it with widescreen.
Yeah,
and so it lets you see the movement of everyone in the frame. I like films that are shot that way that really use the frame.
I think it fits this film really well.
It does, and the concert scenes are really well shot. And I don't think it's a movie that really needs a lot of flash.
Right.
I think Jennifer as Selena is enough to carry the movie. It doesn't need to be overly edited or crazy camera work and stuff. Right. Sometimes that works. Like Elvis has a lot of crazy camera work and very big editing. It's just very kind of wild. But that kind of mimics Elvis.
Yeah, for sure.
It works for that film. I don't think something like that is necessary for a sweet Latina girl growing up to be a big star.
Right.
It doesn't really fit. So I like that it's just, it's from a time, this is 96, so it was shot on 35 millimeter, and movies just look better when they were shot on film. So, it just has that going for it anyway to begin with. I forget who the director of photography is, but I just liked how clean everything looked.
Yeah.
And nothing called attention to itself. It just lets you get kind of sucked into the story.
Yeah. I thought it did a good job of that.
Yeah.
I like the ending when she's singing that song, Dreaming of You, I think. But she's on stage singing that, and then somebody throws a rose on the stage, and it's like something happened, but it really didn't. But it kind of slows down, and then it goes into the news reports and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of mix that in, as well as when you're seeing the hospital scene and the people flooding the streets to for candlelight type stuff. They also incorporated some real clips of Selena.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I thought that was really cool, not only because you got to see the real Selena, but you could also see how well Jennifer Lopez played her during that time.
Oh, yeah. I do like if it is like a biopic and the person's passed away or whatever, I do like it when they incorporate the real person in some sort, because there's always going to be a title thing about what happened and all this. It's I'm just going back to the Elvis movie because I really liked it. But they do a part where he's singing his last performance, Unchained Melody. At just the right part, they cut to the real Elvis singing it, and it's like when you get that, it was really emotional.
Yeah.
So I like it when they do incorporate the real footage of the real person at the end. It just helps kind of bring it all home.
Yeah, and I think the way they did it also was a very emotional thing, because it was what they did. I think they did like a weird type split screen where on both sides was the people loaded flooding the streets, and then the middle scene is just the real videos of her. Yeah, and I thought that was emotional because you're having those people flood the streets and stuff for that reason.
That was well done.
It's a good movie.
It was. It's a very good movie. Thank you for recommending it. I enjoyed it.
Good. Look at that.
Arguably probably the best movie aside from My Friend Dahmer that you've recommended. So
okay,
appreciate it.
So you like My Friend Dahmer, you like Selena, well, and I think you liked Squid in the Well.
Yeah, I like Squid in the Well. Yeah.
Three movies out of however many we've done.
Yeah. And I didn't mind Step Up. Step Up was okay.
That's right. That's right.
It was okay.
It looks like I'm getting better.
I think you're getting better. Yeah.
But I have to throw some in there that you'll hate.
You had the misstep of Coyote Ugly, but
well, that's a great movie. So. I think, yeah. I do like some good movies, but to me, they're all good. Coyote Ugly to me is a great movie, and that's why I have a feeling you're going to hate Crossroads, but
I'm going to watch it.
I really think it's a good movie too.
Well, I'm interested to see why you think it's a good movie.
That would be
that's going to be our
first episode in January, January 1st.
January 1st. Start your year off right.
Yeah, that's right, with Britney.
With us.
Oh, us too, yeah. Definitely with us. She won't be here. Unless you're listening.
We'll see if Britney has a cameo.
She has a cameo. That would be amazing.
It would be great. We'll just have her do our intro.
She'll be like, Are you looking up if she has cameo?
There are several Britney Spears impersonators on Cameo, but no.
Oh, there's a good one off TikTok, but I mean, I wouldn't pay to have a cameo from a fake
We
one.
want the real deal.
But there is a really good impersonator.
Should just explain that you're the biggest Britney fan. And
I want her to do something simple like our intro, or
oh my God, that's asking a lot.
How cool would it be for her to introduce that episode, though?
I don't know if you know this, but we're a library podcast in West Virginia.
Basically, the people that listen to us is our staff.
Hey, now, no, more than that.
Oh, and their families.
Potentially, that could be accurate. But we have more than that. Actually, we have at least one person in France who has listened to our podcast.
Well,
That's
cool.
interesting.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know anybody in France.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Nice.
We'll catch on.
Yes. No, I can't find a way to contact Britney Spears and ask her to.
I'll figure it out.
to
It's
our
fine.
Podcast. Okay, no.
We got a couple months.
That would
we
be
can do this.
amazing,
I'll work on
but
it.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think she's probably a little busy.
Probably a little busy.
Did she just do an album or something?
She just did a song with Elton John, which, by the way, put her in. There's like 10 artists that have had a top 10 Billboard hit in 4 different decades, and she just hit that. So
Cool.
She's talented.
She is.
Listen. Listen, you can hate Crossroads,
Wow.
but generalized Britney hate, I don't know if we're
I don't think it's
allowing
allowed
on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't think it's allowed.
Is she a
I
pop
don't-
star? Yes.
I don't
but
know about her. I don't know anything about her. So.
things that
Well,
are
good news. You're going to learn a
popular.
lot.
I'm going to
That's
learn
good.
so much.
I learn
It's
a
going
lot
to be a
about
very
Britney.
educational episode.
All right.
So
All
I
right,
guess,
moving on.
I guess we should probably talk about your movie some.
Yeah. So Pulp Fiction, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'll say why I like it so
Yeah,
much.
give us a little rundown.
So Tarantino had started writing scripts in the early 90s, and he wrote True Romance and Natural Born Killers were 2 big ones. So he had like several like ideas for scripts and like short passages, and they never really were completed into full-fledged scripts. And he sold True Romance, sold Natural Born Killers, and then he made Reservoir Dogs, and that was killer. You own Reservoir Dogs, but have not seen it. It's a very good movie. And he was a real hot commodity there for a minute. And True Romance was eventually made into a film by Tony Scott, which is a terrific film. Natural Born Killers was made, of course, by Oliver Stone, who changed a lot of the movie. And that came out same year Pulp Fiction. So what he did was he took a lot of those ideas for scripts, or 10 or 15, 20 pages. In a way, he kind of cobbled them all together into Pulp Fiction. So that's why there's so many different stories and they kind of intersect. And it's hard to think about, but Pulp Fiction, when it came out, there was nothing like it. It was totally unique. It had just a vibe all its own. You hadn't heard dialogue like that in a movie.
Right.
And just the frankness of it, and how everyone's just cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they're terrible. Like they're gangsters, they're drug dealers,
Right.
they're, but the movie just oozes cool all over the place. It's just such a fun movie, and it's so wild. And I remember me and my dad wanted to rent it. I don't even know if it ever came to the theaters here. And so we went to rent it, and about 20 minutes in, he's like, "Nope, we got to turn this off," because of the language.
Yeah, I think they say the F-bomb. I think I saw 278 times.
It's pretty high. It's either that or Scarface was the number one as far as F-bombs, which it might have been eclipsed at this point. I don't know. Even though I'd seen Exorcist and Taxi Driver and all this at this point, it was he's like, no. So eventually I sneak around and I just buy it at Record Town or Saturday Matinee in the mall. And, finally eventually watch the whole thing. And I was just like, I just love the movie to death. It was just... it was just like nothing I'd ever seen, and it really kind of opened my eyes to, because at that point I'd seen a lot of movies, but it was still largely just very mainstream movies. And he has so many influences that it really, even if you don't get the influences or the references, you will eventually, because it's Pulp Fiction's like a gateway drug to just cinema. There's a lot going on, and so quotable. I just love the cast. I love Travolta and Sam Jackson and Uma. And I really love, like, this is just me just going to go on for about another hour about how much I love Pulp Fiction. But so I like watching it again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably watch it every year or two. And I watched it a couple months ago. One of the things I like that if you go down more into his filmography is his early stuff tends to get categorized as like very kind of hard, and it's about gangsters and thieves and everything. And then kind of later, as he matures, he kind of softens up a little bit. Like Django it gets very romantic. You know, I love the relationship between Jamie Foxx and Kerry Washington. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very melancholic and you know, and kind of heartwarming in a way, you know, but watching his newer movies and then going back and watching Pulp Fiction again, I was struck, especially in the scenes with Vincent and Mia, you know, like their discussions, and they're at the Jackrabbit Slim's restaurant. They have like a little silence, and she's like, don't you just love the silence? That means you can met someone you really connect with when you know you can just shut up for 5 minutes. And so I love those little moments. And like after he gives her the shot of adrenaline and all that, and they have that little moment, she tells him the joke from the pilot, and you know, he blows her the little kiss. It's like
there were soft times then.
There were soft times even then too. That I think he's just gotten better as a filmmaker. But Pulp Fiction is it's just iconic and just a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
I have trivia for Aaron.
Okay.
Aaron, I want you to try for us to name 10 Quentin Tarantino movies.
Oh, there's no way I could.
Well,
just try.
There's those ones, the Roadhouse ones or something. Wheelhouse, the
Grindhouse.
Yeah, Grindhouse.
Okay.
Well, one of them is his.
Yeah, there's that one.
Which
Death
one
Proof?
is his?
Is that Death Proof?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I liked better. Because I've seen both of those.
It's like he doesn't have 10 movies. Not that he's directed.
No, I meant that he's written.
Oh, that he's written okay.
Well, I don't think I know any more than Josh has already said.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That and the Grindhouse movie. That's all I know.
You know the Grindhouse movie?
I mean, other than the ones you've said, I don't
It's
know.
okay. You can name those if you remember them.
Well, my memory is really bad. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
The one you own.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
Pulp Fiction. And that other one you said.
There's another one you've mentioned on the podcast before that you really liked.
Death Proof?
Also has Uma Thurman in it.
Oh, the Kill Bills.
You've seen both of them?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I did like those.
Oh.
Look at me naming things.
Have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
No.
Well, that's
Not that I know of.
That's going to be one.
That's a good one. That would be a good one for you.
Not that I know of.
He's been credited as a writer on 29 movies.
Oh,
I think he's written a couple TV episodes too.
probably.
Like I think it was like a CSI.
Well, the Dusk Till Dawn TV series was him.
Oh, I think some of those are like he gets credit for creating the characters.
Yeah.
That happens.
yeah.
Like if they make like a TV show or a movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the show. The movie's great. First one.
Yeah.
But, okay, so my take on Pulp Fiction.
Let's do it.
Start with the bad. That's right.
You're implying there's bad in Pulp Fiction.
I think the only bad is I felt like at times it was a little slow. That's it.
Okay.
Other than that, I love the storyline. Great cast. Once again, so important. Everybody was just good. The story and like where you said it was kind of patched together, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like a story that has a movie that has small stories that intertwine.
Yeah.
That I love that. Where they brought it back around, because I didn't see that coming. I mean, but
like at the end where
they're actually in the diner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool because you really reached the end of Vincent's life.
Yeah.
Like you see him die and then they circle back around to all this stuff that happened previously.
Yeah, I like the end of the movie isn't the timeline end.
Right.
It's the emotional end.
Yep.
Where they sail off and him and Vincent and Jules kind of walk off into the sunset.
Right.
Looking awesome. In their Santa Cruz t-shirts and shorts.
Yeah. Which was given to them by the character played by Quentin Tarantino.
Jimmy.
That's right. But no,
got a real serious body situation here.
There was so much good stuff. And I would say probably one of my favorite scenes, the way it was done, was when she does overdose, when Mia overdoses.
Oh yeah.
And they're well, okay, the whole part is great. So
just the whole Vincent and Mia.
Yeah, their relationship in the movie, their friendship, whatever it is great. But that whole scene after, okay, she says she's overdosed, and he takes them to
Eric Stoltz's house, the drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was his name?
He is
that Pumpkin?
He's Lance.
So I thought those were the same people.
No, that's completely different actors.
I thought they left. I thought they robbed that, and then they went on to be friends with them, and they were their drug dealer.
Heavy sigh.
Well, I was really tired when I watched, so there's that. Okay, but anyways, so they take him to John Travolta's character is like, I'm not going to take her to a hospital because that would get questions from the main boss guy. So he takes him to the drug dealer, and he doesn't want him in there. He does not want Vincent there.
Yeah.
So he's arguing with him. All the meanwhile, like, she's still overdosing.
She's dying.
Yeah, she's dying. They're having an argument, and then they decide, okay, well, we'll put her in here. And then he tells his girlfriend or wife, like, I need the shot of adrenaline. And then he goes looking for a medical book. All this is, once again, she's dying.
Yeah.
And then they start arguing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It was so hilarious. That scene was funny.
It is, and like I love that because it's like it's funny, it's chaotic, it's like
intense.
It's intense, it's suspenseful.
There's so much in that moment. I loved it. I laughed really hard during that, but at the same time, like, somebody's dying, so it's intense.
Yeah, and then when he actually
that's what I was. Yes, and then it switches to that, which I don't know. I loved the way they did that scene where it was like a close up of the
close up of the needle.
Yeah,
like,
and then he stabs it into her, and she takes that breath and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just that scene was really cool.
Yeah, it's one of those like heart stopping kind of moments, where
but it was also so funny.
It is.
It could have been so intense without the funny parts.
Yeah,
but I don't think it would have fit right. Like
because like it would be chaotic because he shows up, he calls him, and Lance is like, "Don't bring her here! Don't bring her here! Prank caller!" And then he opens the door. He hears a car, opens the door, and Travolta, which is a really great one shot, he drives through the lawn and crashes into the house.
Right.
And then it's just like
from there it gets crazy.
It just gets crazy, and he's arguing with his wife about why is she here, and then the medical book and all that. Yeah. It's like it's a brilliant scene, and also like one little thing that is cool that when I was watching this last time. So they have that's all done in one shot where the car comes in.
Oh, okay.
The camera follows Eric Stoltz outside, and you see that the car has crashed into the house.
Yeah,
and it's like there's not enough time for them to switch out people, so. If like little probably fun fact, I'm assuming this is how they did this. So the car is already crashed into it. The car that comes to the yard is a different car, and it drives past that car, and so that's how they do that in one shot. I always find that kind of stuff like back then when they couldn't just CG everything out,
right?
And especially because this wasn't like a huge budgeted movie anyway. I like the little tricks they used to accomplish those kind of shots.
Right. Yeah, that's neat to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
It's just a great, funny scene.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, I like this movie.
Yeah.
I might watch it again. I don't watch a lot of movies over and over, but like I said, I think at parts it was just a little slow. Could have also been that I was tired. Who knows? I did not fall asleep.
That's good. That's an accomplishment.
And I watched it all in one sitting.
Wow.
So I did enjoy it, but there were a lot of good scenes. The scene when he is buying the drugs and then he's shooting up.
Yeah.
I liked that too. Once again, close up of the needle and
it shows him driving in the cars. Like I forget what the tune is, but it's like don't.
That was another thing. Soundtrack, so good.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack.
The music in this is great.
Tarantino's impeccable music taste. Like his soundtracks are always just killer.
I will say the opening of the movie. Or maybe it was just like the DVD main menu. I don't know what the original song is, but I didn't realize they reused that music in a Black Eyed Peas song. So when it came on, I was like, this doesn't fit timeline for this movie. And then I realized, this isn't the Black Eyed Peas song.
Like the main over the titles in the movie? Mm-hmm. Like that's...
I think that's what it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I didn't like the Black Eyed Peas before, I don't like them more now.
Oh, well, I like them. But I could have told you then what it was, but right
Yeah.
now I can't even think of what it was.
Yeah.
But so that was interesting. But the music helped make the movie too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's-
it just
It's just like the coolest soundtrack,
yeah.
and I like how unpredictable. You don't know where this thing's going.
Oh no, not at all. That's
Yeah.
why I said like the twist at the end is that they're in the
in the restaurant.
in the
Sorry.
restaurant, and there's no way to know that's going to happen.
Do you like cold opens like that?
What's that
where a movie kind of throws you into the middle of
Yeah.
the action?
So I will
before you-
say sometimes I think it works well. I think it works with this movie. I do like the way it's not in timeline.
Yeah, it's not
like with this one.
chronological.
But I will say when I turned this one on, I was watching, all of a sudden they were talking in the diner, but they were like mid-sentence or
Yeah.
mid-conversation at least.
Yeah.
And I had to rewind it because I was like, did I just miss something? So it did catch me off guard at first, but I do like, especially when it's something where you're seeing, this was done in like 4 different stories or something like that, I think.
Yeah, like four
5
main
something
stories.
like that.
Yeah.
But when you're getting different stories that then somehow connect, I love that. So, and I think the best way for that to be presented is you start in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
Because if you just do it as a timeline movie, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, that's both movies this week did that. They started
I guess
out
that's
of
true.
chronological order. Like
guess that's true.
Selena,
Because
Yeah.
Selena
at
starts
the
with her
end, and then
as
it
once
popped
she's
back to
big
the
already.
beginning, and then
Yeah.
like the same thing this one. I was thinking if you like those, it made me think of a movie that I think Aaron might like. Have you ever seen Intermission? That's like an Irish kind of comedy film. And
Never heard of it.
it has
haven't
one
either.
of the I love the cold open on it. It's hilarious. We'll watch it later.
Okay. I haven't seen it. What do you think the wildest part of Pulp Fiction is?
The whole movie? I mean,
Or the part that surprised you the most?
well, I think that would have to be most likely when Butch and Marcellus get taken.
Bring out the camp.
Yeah, that was I didn't expect that at all. That was interesting. I will say I got really excited when I thought he was going to pick a chainsaw, and I was like, oh my gosh, Bruce Willis wielding a chainsaw, like that was going to be great.
Hey, I love that
Because I
little.
saw them behind him,
Yeah.
and then when he did pick it up, I was like, yes,
I love that little part where he's going through the store and he's like
Yeah.
baseball bat and chainsaw,
a hammer.
hammer.
It was hammer, baseball bat, chainsaw, and then he sees that
katana. Yeah.
which instantly made me think of Kill Bill.
Yeah.
So
I think it might be the same, or the one in Kill Bill's modeled after that.
Yeah. that would make sense.
Sword. It's a little bit of like a callback to, I don't know if you've ever seen Evil Dead.
I haven't.
There's a part where he's like going and looking. It reminds me of that. Like he's looking for things to use as
Oh,
weapons.
okay. I'm about to get that video game, but I haven't seen the movie.
You need to watch the movies. You can play the game. You get all the.
No, it's just survival horror.
You'll like those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
hilarious.
I've always thought I would. I don't go back and watch movies. That's the thing. But yeah, that scene was hilarious. There's so many good scenes. I mean, even when he kills Vincent, Bruce kills Vincent.
Oh yeah.
He goes back to his apartment. He's getting his dad's watch, which so hilarious was given to him by Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I was so glad to see. Anytime I see him,
Yeah.
I like
Chris
him.
Walken's great. His dad. He had his watch.
Yeah. And he stored it inside of himself. Like that I did not expect that. See, that's another wild moment. It
For
was
7
just,
years. He had this watch.
but then so did Christopher Walken's character
Yeah.
for 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But it's little stuff like that that just made this movie so funny.
Yeah.
And I could see why it's kind of like a cult classic.
It's just a classic.
Oh,
Like,
just a
there's no
regular
call.
classic.
It's just.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was in the. I don't know if it still is. It was in the AFI Top 100 movies
okay.
of all time. Like it's.
Yeah, it's definitely good, but there's so many little wild scenes. And then going back to, he goes back to get his watch in the apartment and he looks around. He doesn't see anybody. So he's just making some Pop-Tarts.
Oh yeah.
Like just chilling out at his apartment. Then he sees a gun and he's like, oh, well, somebody must be in here.
Yeah.
And you hear the toilet flush and out walks Vincent and he's just standing there and just blows him away.
Yeah, he just he grabs
Yeah.
he found it because Vincent left his gun laying on the counter.
Right. And I like that, not liked, but I thought it was interesting that he's leaving and he has to stop for somebody to walk across the road and it's
It's Marcellus,
Marcellus, yeah.
That-
Which is the main kingpin
Yeah, he's
that Vincent and Jules works for.
Yeah,
and he hits him.
That Butch is,
he killed one of their people.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to throw a
match.
boxing match, and for Marcellus and stuff. And,
Yeah.
But I love the spontaneity of the whole movie, but especially Butch's story. Mm-hmm. It's just like you don't expect. He ends up
seems so random,
and it's like, oh, Vincent's on the toilet, so he kills Vincent, and then he runs into Marcellus and runs him over, and then they end up in a pawn shop, and then the Gimp, and then it's just like,
and then since he saves him with the katana, he saves Marcellus. Marcellus is like, we're good, but all the while not knowing he killed Vincent as well.
Yeah.
So I like that too, because and I was thinking about that. I was like, when's that going to come back to bite him? But it doesn't. He leaves.
His story.
He's like, you have to get out of here now.
Butch is mostly self-contained in his little. Yeah. He's in the little bit, at the bar with Marcellus, but his story is kind of the most contained. Of all of because
it all crosses over.
It does.
The only people he does not cross over with is the diner. He doesn't have a part of the diner.
No.
But other than that, I mean, he was doing something for Marcellus, went against him.
Yeah.
Vincent and them are after him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's the one that kills Vincent. So it's pretty intertwined, I think.
And then you don't expect Marvin shot back in the car.
Oh, yeah. The guy that dies in the car.
And then that gets shot in the car.
Yeah.
And then I love the little scene in the car where they're cleaning up the car. And
Jules is like, I don't know why I'm back here.
Why am I back here picking up a little piece of brain matter? You need to be back here. You shot the guy.
Yeah. I also liked when the wolf is there and Vincent he's like, go clean. And Vincent's say please. And he's like, no, I'm here to help you. You do what I say. He's like, it goes into this long thing. I don't like to be told. So he's like, pretty please, go clean the car. It was just funny that he was like, I need a please.
Yeah.
When he's like a gangster.
Yeah, it's always like little character moments and little beats like that really make the movie.
And even the character that Quentin Tarantino plays, Jimmy, I think you said. I mean, his part is funny too. He's so worried about his wife finding out. He obviously has connection to Jules somehow.
Yeah. I imagine like they went to high school together.
Right. Yeah. Like it's not a gang related relation. And he just lets him pull this dead body in the car. But he's like, I have an hour and a half before my wife gets back. But then even when the wolf asks for blankets, he's like, here's these blankets, but I really don't want you to use them because they were given as a wedding gift, blah, 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 blah. It's just these little funny, quirky moments.
Like even when they get, when Jules and Vincent are at Jimmy's and he's like, man, that's some good coffee. He's like, because I buy the good stuff. Bonnie, she buys that instant crap. It's just
and I thought that was funny.
Because that's like how kind of people will talk. Like, like it's, the little things that make it more colorful,
Right. And when Wolf comes in, he tells him to make him some coffee. And there's that moment where he like nods like, oh, this is good. Yeah. And holds the coffee cup up. That just brings it full circle
Jimmy
right
knows
back
his
to
coffee.
that. Yeah. But I really liked it. I'm
really glad you liked it. That makes me really happy.
Yeah. The cast alone is so good.
Yeah, they're all amazing.
And incorporates so many little things like Marilyn Monroe and all the Rat Pack and things like that as well. And there's that little bit of stuff.
I'm still amazed that no one is open to Jackrabbit Slim's restaurant. That should be a thing. That would be cool.
I would be surprised. Yeah. That would be cool.
Because it's like, that's what I love kind of about Tarantino's movies is like, they all kind of take place in a fantasy world to a certain, like that place doesn't, that place is too cool to exist.
Yeah.
All these people there's no gangsters that are that cool that talk like that. And, and it's like in Kill Bill, like she's carrying a katana on a plane. Yeah. And it's like the katana has a sheath like in the seat. Like there's a katana sheath built into the plane seat.
Right.
And it's like, that's ridiculous. It doesn't work, but it's awesome. Right. And it's cool. And it's like his movies, especially like Kill Bill, and they're very like live action cartoons, like to a certain degree. Like they're grounded in an emotional reality, but they're very they're very theatrical and very
little outlandish.
Yeah,
but in a good way. In a very good way.
It's like Tarantino's like one of those guys like Scorsese or Spielberg or somebody that like you go see him and like like movie starts and like man I'm in good hands. It's just like it's a comforting feeling seeing like one of their movies opening day.
Yeah, Well, I think going back to the opening of this specific one, so you get dropped in the middle of the conversation of the two people sitting there, and at first they're just talking about normal stuff, and then all of a sudden they're talking about places, what would be the best place to rob, and then the guy's just like, this place, and they just like hop up and start robbing, like.
You know, wallets. There's a lot of wallets in restaurants, stuff like that.
It's so funny. I mean, I think you could just go on and on about good scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Funny parts and like when Butch does run over Marcellus, the scene before he runs over him is so funny because he just kind of looks at him.
Cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo, and then he spots him. He's like.
Yeah, and he's just like looking for a second, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding," or something like that.
It's like,
and the donuts go flying.
I love Marcellus's like he just stops dead in front of him.
Yeah,
because he's like carrying like some donuts and a coffee. Mm-hmm. I love that like the gangster, like Kingpin or whatever,
is the one that went to get donuts.
It's the one to get donuts and coffee.
Because I'm assuming that he was going back to where Vincent was
probably because I think he's in this.
It's right as he pulls out of the apartment building. So, I thought that was funny
true.
too.
Like, because he was going back to the apartment. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like that's what was happening.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really funny because just like you said, like the Kingpin went to get the donuts and coffee.
And Vincent's in the toilet.
Right. When he does show back up to fix a Pop-Tart and take a watch.
I just love how he's walking and then he just stops and then he turns.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's great comedic timing. Oh, it's such a great movie.
It is. It was really good. Like I said, I don't know what parts were slow, but it just had this like slow feeling at times. That was
the Butch
just like
part can get kind of slow, especially the start of it.
And it might have been that when he's like riding in the
cab. And
I will say, I haven't even brought my notes up that I made.
No.
It seems like I remembered them.
Yeah, you're
surprised.
You're doing a good job.
Okay. There was one thing else. I will say where it was an older movie, some of the things were not that PC about other cultures. There was a couple little things.
It's a Tarantino movie.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm. His characters talk very blue.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Most of them,
There was something I really found funny. Okay, talking about Butch in the taxi. Mm-hmm. When the lady starts driving, she's barefoot. And I just thought that was awkward and weird. Yeah. I don't know. It was just one of those, like, it was like a 1 second shot.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Tarantino's got to get in that.
That was funny.
He's got to get in that foot shot.
Yeah. It was funny.
I was watching it. It was like Brad Pitt's acceptance speech for like winning an award. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'd like to thank Tarantino and I'd like to thank all my co-stars, Margot Robbie's feet, Margaret Qualley's feet. And it's just really funny. He's got a little bit of a foot fetish.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like about that cab thing before we move on, I love that it's shot with old process. So
the background
is black and white.
That's what I was getting ready to mention. I like that it was black and white. But I mean, of course, you could tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's
100%.
Obvious. He's not trying to hide it. Hitchcock used to do that a lot to like remind you this is a movie.
Yeah.
Because he would intercut like a shot of them, like a real shot.
Yeah.
Some of them driving, and then it would be a process shot.
Yeah. I like that. That was my note. It was barefoot and background. Yeah. I don't know. It did add something to that scene.
Yeah.
Which I guess is good because maybe that was one of the ones that was just kind of slow.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was a long taxi ride that we didn't need to go on.
Yeah, because it's coming after. I think it's coming after something. It's like the movie slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I like. Yeah, I like that it slows down. And I like that Tarantino like knows he's making a movie and it's not trying to make a documentary. It's just like this is just sit back and let me take you on a ride.
There's going to be some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, great scenes that I really liked. I like the way they were shot.
Like the long Steadicam shot all around Jackrabbit's limbs.
What now?
The restaurant. Mm-hmm. When Mia and Vincent.
Oh, yeah,
the long Steadicam shot where it's just taking you all over the restaurant. You see James Dean and Marilyn and James Manfield.
Yeah,
and all
I like that too. Yeah. And that's what I say. It would just.
That's like a classic De Palma shot. That De Palma would do, like long Steadicam shots. He's a huge De Palma fan. It
just worked. And the intertwining, like I said before, the intertwining stories and things like that. I like that.
I'm really glad you liked it. It makes me feel happy.
I mean, honestly, I was really hoping I'd like this one just because it's Pulp Fiction. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is, and I was just like,
I want to feel like I know, like I'm in with the in crowd, and I like this popular movie too.
no, I mean, it's so popular for some reason, and it seems like I shoot down a lot of popular movies, and I'm sorry that I don't like them, but this one I liked.
I figured you would, because it's like, I don't know how someone
It's crazy.
doesn't like. It's just so wild and well written, and So.
And it circles back to even the where I like Squid in the Well and Messed Up Families, and well, this is all kinds of messed up life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just happens to take place in like drug lord type setting, but I mean, crazy stuff happens.
So what do you think? They never show you. What do you think is in the case that Vincent and Jewel, like
you're
the
right.
glow's gold?
They never show you
that. There's some theories.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see like what you think it is.
Well, the first time I saw it, I just assumed maybe it was like gold bars.
Yeah.
Like money.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever thought beyond that.
I think it's just kind of like a fun little nugget. I don't think it's really supposed to be anything. But
it's kind of an important part. Like that's what they're doing.
What sets off a lot of the
MacGuffin.
Yeah.
What?
So that is. It's a MacGuffin. It's a storytelling device where basically they have a thing that they're doing, or they have to do a thing they have to get somewhere.
Yeah,
carry,
you don't know.
But you don't know what it is. It's just like it's just something that's meant to be there to kind of drive the story along.
That's kind of like what sets up them. They go there, they do that, they get the case, then they get Marvin, then they shoot Marvin, then they go to Jimmy's, then they go to the restaurant,
Yeah.
So there's like a theory I remember reading, which is kind of cool. So when you first see Marcellus, you just see the back of his neck, like when he's talking to Butch. Mm-hmm. And he's got a huge Band-Aid across it.
Yeah.
And like there's a fun theory that what's in the suitcase is someone extracted Marcellus Wallace's soul and put it in the suitcase. That's why it glows so bright. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but I mean, I feel like it would fit into a Quentin
Otherwise, why does he
Tarantino
have a
movie.
giant Band-Aid on the back of his neck?
Right, that's never explained either.
Of course, that's where you'd extract the soul from.
It would make sense that it's connected in some
I mean, it's got to be something precious to Marcellus.
Right, exactly.
So
I like that one. I want to go with that one because I feel like it's wild and crazy like the movie, and it could fit. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean the movie's
makes
not,
sense.
Not literal. So
let's find his soul. That's good. Yeah, because that shot is
like that you were looking up MacGuffin and it had the briefcase from.
The most famous one's the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, well, they have to get the Millennium Falcon to get
Yeah, and they don't really.
They had like Indiana Jones stuff too.
Yeah,
it's like the artifact.
To the plot completely.
It
does not matter what's in the suitcase. It's just
it gets the ball rolling.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I did not realize I didn't see it.
It's a common storytelling trope.
Yeah.
Just like love being a central part of a movie. That's right there.
That's just to get all you soft-hearted people to watch movies.
Listen, to give you a little bit more, another movie trivia thing to watch out for. Mm-hmm. There's another, movie play trivia thing. There's a concept called a Chekhov's gun. And it's where if they show something on screen that's a weapon, or like if they address something in a movie, it's going to come up. So there's a play by Anton Chekhov where at one point in the play they reference a gun hanging up over a fireplace. Later in the movie, someone is shot with that gun. And so it's the idea that, like, you see it in horror movies all the time. If they show you an elaborate death trap of some sort, then
someone's going to get caught in it.
Someone's going to end up in it.
Right.
Like
it's
the
like
doggy door in the garage in Scream.
Yes.
They make a point of putting that on camera before she ends up in it.
Right.
That's something to watch out for. But it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a murder implement.
Right.
But it's the idea that, like, if they point it out, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
Teaching a character to read. Or if they reference something, you're like, why are they talking about that right now?
Yeah. There's a reason they're shooting.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like how I felt when he was looking through the pawn shop for a weapon.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw the chainsaws in the back, and there were like 4 of them. Yeah. So I felt like it was very obvious that was going to be the next thing. And it was his next thing. He just then found a katana, which was hilarious.
Yeah. Also, it makes sense because you can't really sneak up on somebody with a chainsaw.
Well, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that's very true. Or you don't start it until you get behind them, and then it doesn't start.
Yeah, and then you're dead.
Then you just get shot.
Yeah.
That would so be my luck. It'd be out of gas, or the chain slips off.
Yeah.
Something wild.
A man has a chainsaw for a hand in the Evil Dead movies. I can't believe you haven't seen those.
Well, I'm going to.
You would love.
I'm going to watch them.
That might
sometime.
get picked.
I highly
Especially
recommend.
if I enjoy the game.
The first one's great. It's classic, but it's not the title. Army of Darkness is my favorite one, which I hadn't seen until this year, but I am very upset that they did not name it Medieval Dead.
Yeah.
That would have been the obvious choice. He goes back into the Middle Ages.
Is that like the third one?
That's the third one, yeah.
It's real good.
See, look at that.
It's a lot of fun.
I knew that.
See?
I like Evil Dead 2 the most. Still my favorite.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch those.
You're probably going to.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't make me watch it.
We are doing Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start randomly mentioning movies that I want to see that I've never seen, and just be like, "Yeah, I've never seen this movie," and hope you just pick them. That way, I have to watch them, but it's something I want to watch.
Listen, that's not what this podcast is about. Sometimes it's about torturing you guys.
I feel
with
like
movies you don't
sometimes
want to watch.
I'm just gonna control the narrative of the podcast. It's fine.
That's not your job.
A little.
That's my job.
Okay. All right. So I guess that brings us to the end of this discussion. And we both like the movies.
Yep.
So that's a good thing.
The second time that's happened, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
there was another one.
Third. I don't know.
I don't know. Third seems like it's pushing it. But but anyways, I guess so we need to choose movies for next time. We're going to be heading into October. Spooky month. Most of us love the month of October and Halloween.
Best time of year.
Yes, 100%. So I think we're going to probably go into some spooky type movies.
We are.
Okay.
Aaron's going to pick random Disney Halloween movies for me.
Oh, I should totally have you watch a Disney movie.
Stop.
I mean, Hocus Pocus 2 is coming out.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying.
Okay. So what what are you inflicting on me next month?
Okay, so I'm going to have you watch the Belko Experiment.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one I meant to see. I just never saw.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what it would fall under if it's not horror.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a different kind of horror, but I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horror movie for sure.
And yeah. So
awesome.
That's the Belko Experiment.
Okay. And what I'm going to pick for you, Aaron, is my all-time favorite horror movie.
Oh man, that means it's old.
And it's like Toby's favorite. Is it your favorite?
Scream.
No, stop.
Scream 4.
It's one of Toby's favorite horror movies.
Okay. Is it in black and white?
No.
Okay.
It's undeniably. You can't make like a top 10 horror movie without including it, really. Like a list.
I feel like I'm really going to let y'all down.
So I'm going to pick John Carpenter's 1982 film, The Thing.
Okay.
With Kurt Russell and an awesome cast of dudes stuck in the Arctic with
awesome cast of dudes.
Well, I mean, it's all dudes. There's no men. There's no women in the.
There's no men.
There's no men.
It's all dudes. There's no men.
They're just dudes. They're not men. In the cast, there's no women. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's definitely my favorite horror movie. I love it. There's so many fun theories that we can talk about next time.
Okay.
And I'm really excited.
If you fall asleep, you have to wake up, rewind it, and watch it again. That's not allowed on this one. You have to watch it all the way.
And I know this movie very well, so if you are flubbing stuff, I'll be like, did you watch it? You fell asleep, didn't you?
Listen, we know you don't watch some of them. We'll nail you to the wall on this one.
That's not true. I watch them all. Sometimes I fall asleep, and I don't find it worth rewatching parts that I'd missed. Anyways.
Okay.
We also know when I fall asleep, it's for not long. So, 3 minutes at a time here and there.
Well, if you fall asleep for 3 minutes, rewind it.
Okay.
Go back, okay?
Okay. We'll see what
watch
happens.
Watch it with some friends or something.
That'd be good.
It'll keep you awake.
Yeah. All right. So join us on the next podcast for that. Us talking about Belko Experiment and
The Thing.
Yeah. And also keep an eye out on our Facebook or any other social media for upcoming events at the library. We're back into full programming, so full children's programming, including the teen room, and then full adult programs as well. So definitely keep an eye on our Facebook and our social media for any kind of upcoming events and for every time our podcast is posted.
Yep, on the 1st and 15th.
That's right. So until next time, I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And this has been The Real Opposites.
Nice job.
Well done.
Come on the floor.
What was that? Oh.
It's clapping.